Hi everybody, this is Mrs. Pearson, your elementary ELL teacher. Today we're going to focus on chapter 5 of Bud Not Buddy, but most importantly the vocabulary words 1 through 4. For this lesson you will need a pencil and a piece of paper or journal page, and you're going to divide the paper into 3 equal parts or thirds. And then you're going to write numbers 1 through to 4. Because for each number, you're going to write the vocabulary word. And in the second column, I want you to write a synonym or shorter definition. And a synonym is a word that means the same. For example, combine is a synonym for mix. They are similar in what they mean. You can combine ingredients or you can mix ingredients when you're cooking, for example. If you don't catch, if you can't think of a synonym or can have time to write a short definition, that's okay. You can rewrite the word a second time. And then in the third column, I want you to draw a picture or a sketch to help you remember what the word means. And you're going to do this for all 4 words. So let's go over our learning target. And if at any time I'm going too fast, push pause, get caught up, and then push play. So our learning target, I can use pictures and context clues to help me understand descriptive language like similes, metaphors, and common expressions or idioms from chapter 5 of Bud Not Buddy. Success criteria. That means how will you know you're successful at using pictures and context clues to help you understand similes, metaphors, and common expressions, as well as vocabulary words? Well, here are our steps to success. I will, number 1, write down each vocabulary word or idiom. 2, write a synonym or short definition for each word. 3, listen and follow along to each quote from the chapter and look for the vocabulary word or idiom that I've highlighted. And then 4, go back and draw a quick sketch or picture for each word or any idiom so that you can remember it better. All right. Just when you see this little guy with his hand up to his ear, that means you don't need to write anything, just listen. And Bud uses a lot of figurative language when he talks. So what is figurative language? So we're going to look at figurative language versus literal language. Well, here's an example of figurative language. He ran like the wind. So they're comparing how this man is running to the wind. Literal language would mean he ran fast. So which sounds better? He ran like the wind or he ran fast? Well, I like the figurative language because it gives you a better picture. All right, just listen for this slide. Idiom. An idiom is a type of figurative language. An idiom is a saying that has a completely different meaning than the actual words themselves. And here's our example. It's raining cats and dogs, so take your umbrella. Is it literally raining cats and dogs? No. It's an idiom. It's figurative speech. It's telling you that it is raining very hard. All right, get your pencil ready and write for number 1, the real McCoy. That is your word, the real McCoy. Actually, it's 3 words, the real McCoy. And what does the real McCoy mean? It means good quality products or genuine. And if you notice, I highlighted quality in yellow and genuine, so that could be a synonym. So first write the real McCoy for number 1. In the second column, you can write quality or genuine. And here's a little picture that shows quality. So here's an example from the book. When I got to the back windows, I almost busted out crying. Somebody had gone and put big metal bars on the windows. Even though I knew it was useless, I tried tugging at the bars, but they were the real McCoy, solid steel. So Bud is saying that those bars on the window were good quality products or genuine. They were solid steel, and they were so solid and so good, he could not break them to get into the library. So where did we get the saying, the real McCoy? So I'm going to tell you about this man that they got the saying from. So Elijah McCoy was born in Canada and studied engineering in Scotland. He moved to the United States, but could not find any work as an engineer because of his skin color. So he became a fireman or oilman for the railroad. So this was over 100 years ago. He was an African American, so people discriminated against him, unfortunately, because of his skin color. But Elijah McCoy soon began inventing devices to make the trains run more safely and efficiently, including his most famous invention, the automatic lubricating oil cup. So other inventors tried to copy McCoy's oil dripping cup, but none of the other cups worked as well as his. So customers started asking for the real McCoy. That's where the expression comes from. So the real McCoy means good quality products, genuine. All right, get your pencil. Number 2, our saying is hard-headed. It's also an idiom. And hard-headed means stubborn or tough and realistic. There's a picture. Dan was so hard-headed in choosing his major. He was so stubborn or tough and realistic. And here's our quote. Mama used to tell me that hard-headed man insisted, mind you, that I wear that horrible hat. So Mama's calling her father a hard-headed or stubborn man. Okay, here's the saying. You just need to listen. When one door closes, another opens. What does it mean? Meaning, if one thing you do fails, you will soon have an opportunity to try to succeed at something else. When one door closes, another opens. This expression is often used to encourage someone to keep trying after they've had a disappointment or failure. And here's the quote. Whoops, sorry. And Bud, I want you to remember, no matter how bad things look to you, no matter how dark the night, when one door closes, don't worry because another door opens. And that's what Mama told Bud. All right, now listen. Simile. What is a simile? It's a type of figurative language. A simile is a comparison of two things using the words like or as. So here's our example of a simile. His face lit up like a light bulb when he figured out the math problem. So a simile is a comparison of two things using the words like or as. And here's our example. His face lit up like a light bulb when he figured out the math problem. Okay, here is another quote. Everything moved very, very fast when Mama was near. She was like a tornado, never resting, always looking around us, never standing still. Bud. So he called his mom, he said his mom was like a tornado. So here's a picture of what I think his mom might have looked like. Mama is like a tornado. Is she a literal tornado? No, this is a figurative language. She is like a tornado, meaning she's full of energy, always moving and working. She did not sit still. All right, get your pencil out. Number 3, Pretty Boy Floyd. 3 words. Pretty Boy Floyd. Pretty Boy Floyd. And Pretty Boy Floyd was a famous gangster or bank robber. So you could choose gangster or you could say bank robber. as your synonym. So here's the quote. I had to be real careful, even if it was the middle of the night, even if I was crouching down, sneaking along the street like pretty boy Floyd. So he compared himself to pretty boy Floyd, saying he was sneaking along the street like pretty boy Floyd. And there's a picture of pretty boy Floyd. He was a real person on a wanted picture. So Bud is comparing his sneaking around. He said his sneaking is like pretty boy Floyd. And there's another picture of pretty boy Floyd. Charles Pretty Boy Floyd, a Great Depression era gangster and notorious bank robber, endeared himself to the public by destroying mortgage papers at the banks he robbed, freeing many from their debts. He was called Pretty because of his baby face good looks. Okay, listen. Metaphor. A metaphor is another type of figurative language. A metaphor is a comparison of two things. You do not use the words like or as in a metaphor. So here's an example of a metaphor. The racer was a lightning rod coming across the finish line. So they're saying that the racer was a lightning rod coming across the finish line. Was the racer really a lightning rod? No. Figuratively, he was a lightning rod, not like a lightning rod, he was. So for metaphors, the big difference is you do not use the words like or as in a metaphor. You're saying the racer was a lightning rod. Listen again. A bud is a flower to be, a flower in waiting, waiting for just the right warmth and care to open up. It's a little fist of love waiting to unfold and be seen by the world. And that's you, Mama. So Mama said that about Bud. So here's a flower bud. And here's Bud from Bud Not Buddy. And Mama was comparing Bud. She was saying that Bud is a flower, is a little fist of love. So there's a fist. So a bud is a fist of love waiting to unfold and be seen by the world. So Bud is a fist of love. That is a metaphor. Here's another type of figurative language, hyperbole. Hyperbole is an extreme exaggeration used for emphasis. For example, there is a ton of food on the table. A ton. Is there a literal ton of food on the table? No, it's a figure of speech. It's an exaggeration. There is a ton of food on the table, and that is a hyperbole. 25-gallon Texas cowboy hat. There's a big Texas cowboy hat, and here is Bud's quote. He'd gone and ruined everybody's fun that day by getting in a big fight with my mother about the gigantic 25-gallon Texas cowboy hat that she was wearing. Bud. So Bud's mom, when she was a little girl, went on a little pony and was forced to wear this gigantic 25-gallon Texas cowboy hat. And here's a picture of someone drew a picture of mom on the pony. So it's an exaggeration because I don't think people actually wear 25-gallon Texas cowboy hats. That's a lot. So it's like 25 gallons of water would fit into a 25-gallon Texas cowboy hat. And here's the state of Texas where they wear a lot of cowboy hats. And here is a cartoon that says, now that's what I call a 10-gallon hat. So there's literally a water jug on top of the hat. Usually you say 10-gallon hat. So that's why I said this was a hyperbole, because Bud said 25-gallon hat. So that's an exaggeration. All right, number 4, 6-shooter pistol. Write that down. A 6-shooter pistol is a gun that holds six cartridges or bullets used by cowboys in the Old West. So be sure to write 6-shooter pistol, and a synonym could be gun, and that gun holds 6 bullets. And here's the quote from Bud Not Buddy. She had 2 6-shooter pistols in her hands, and the way her fact looked, face, I spelled it wrong, sorry. The way her face looked, you could tell she wished she could have emptied them on somebody. So here's that picture again of Bud's mom that someone drew, and she's holding 2 6-shooter pistols, and the way her face looked, you could tell she wished she could have emptied them on somebody. And there's another example of a 6-shooter pistol, and there's a old cowboy firing his 6-shooter pistol. All right, let's check your work. For chapter 5, words 1 through 4, number 1 was the real McCoy. And what is the real McCoy? Quality or genuine. You could write either one of those words. Quality or genuine. Number 2, hard-headed, stubborn. Number 3, Pretty Boy Floyd. He was a famous gangster or a bank robber. And number 4, 6-shooter pistol is a gun. So if you need to, push pause, make sure you have all 4 of these words. And then in the second column, a synonym or short definition. And then in the third column, a quick sketch. And now at the top of your paper, I want you to reflect on your learning target. Just like Winnie the Pooh and Tigger are looking at their reflection, you need to reflect on how well did you hit the target today for learning. The target was, I can use pictures and context clues to help me understand important words from chapter 5, Bud Not Buddy. Now, if you haven't read chapter 5 yet, I want you to look for those important words when you read it as well. So 4 would be, I could teach this lesson. I easily wrote all the vocabulary words with a synonym or short definition and quick sketch. 3, I wrote all the vocabulary words and idioms, wrote a synonym or definition, and drew a quick sketch for most of the words. 2, I wrote most of the vocabulary words and idioms, wrote a synonym and definition, and drew a quick sketch for some of the words. And 1, I wrote some of the vocabulary words, but did not write a synonym or picture for each word. So I want you to give yourself a reflection grade, 4, 3, 2, or 1. And if you're in the 2 or 3 or 2 or 1 reflection, just take a little bit more time to finish writing your vocabulary words and drawing a sketch for each. All right, boys and girls, thanks for doing the lesson with me today. Have a great day.